Welcome and thank you for joining me for this short leadership briefing on the essentials of attendance for school teachers and leaders. My name is Emma Sanderson and I'm Managing Director of Momenta Connect. We provide tailored clinical and educational nationwide support and work with schools, multi-academy trusts, local authorities and directly with families to help children and young people thrive in their education and beyond. In the next 10 to 12 minutes, we'll provide you with the essential insights on attendance in schools right now, with the aim of helping your school get ahead on their attendance strategy for the rest of the academic year and into 26-27. So let's start with the current landscape of school attendance in England. The latest figures from the Department for Education show that a staggering 18.62% of pupils are persistently absent. The situation is even more concerning when we look at the statistics for pupils eligible for free school meals. These students are more than twice as likely to be persistently absent when compared to their peers. The rate of severe absenteeism is also on the rise. The rate of pupils that have missed 50% or more of their schooling has nearly tripled since before the pandemic, indicating a severe absence trend that needs urgent attention. The figures are of course in stark contrast to the national expectations around attendance percentages across schools. Ofsted classifies attendance of 90% or below as being persistently absent, while expected attendance rates actually sit at 95% plus, a figure that some may say is too high when you factor in a post-pandemic culture, shift in the homeschool contract and rising cases of special educational needs, emotional-based school non-attendance and social, emotional and mental health needs across the country. So what does this mean for schools? What does this mean for you working in schools? We have seen increasing pressure from Ofsted to tackle national attendance issues. We also know there are pressures from families to make schooling inclusive for pupils that struggle with potentially unrealistic attendance expectations. To tackle attendance strategy head-on, you will know how crucial it is to understand not only the national landscape, but exactly what is happening in your own school and the community it's within. On the screen now, you can see what we consider to be the essential checklist for your senior leadership team in being across attendance in your school. Firstly, your top line attendance figure versus national averages. This covers your daily attendance, the percentage of students below 90% and those considered to be severely absent with an attendance of 50% or less. In the accompanying papers to this video, you will also have access to the checklist and links to the recent Department for Education statistics. With your basic school data in place, strategic insights can then start to be built by identifying any patterns over time. It may be by year group, by school term, particular dates, or any other demographic group such as religious background, special educational needs, or English as an additional language. Other areas to consider are mapping out the reported reasons for absence to pinpoint any patterns that could be tackled, as well as using lateness data as an indicator of future persistent absence. At this stage of the year, most schools will be reviewing their current attendance initiatives and their impact, and looking at parental engagement marks such as communication responsiveness and participation in parent-teacher meetings or events. Finally, it's really important not to miss the qualitative data. Stakeholder feedback from teachers, teaching assistants, special educational need coordinators, parents and carers, as well as pupils, can provide a helpful layer to inform your future attendance strategy. So, what is the impact of current school attendance crisis nationally and in your school? As teachers and school leaders, you all want the best outcomes for your pupils, and challenges around attendance can be frustrating. We know that the impact of persistent absenteeism can be far-reaching, from social and emotional well-being, where chronic absence leads to isolation and anxiety, as well as potentially impairing normal social development. to academic results where frequent absence means large parts of the curriculum are missed, and it can feel almost impossible to catch your pupils up with their peers. This becomes even harder when it comes to exam years, and good results for those who have missed significant schooling can feel so far out of reach. Schools are frequently reporting the challenges around homeschool relationships as well. Difficult conversations with parents and carers about their children not coming into school for a multitude of reasons puts you in an impossible situation. There is an obligation to liaise between home and the local authority, but the threat of fines and penalties usually creates further animosity and distance between home and school, a step perhaps in the wrong direction for helping the individual pupil. Finally, Ofsted and the Independent School Inspectorate, the regulators. We all know the pressures that you as school leaders are under to meet the expected attendance rates, and how unmet targets can really impact on your Ofsted or regulator judgments. In order to cover the essentials of attendance in schools right now, we must next highlight the underlying factors that can drive absence in schools. Firstly, diagnosed and undiagnosed special educational needs are at the top of mind for many of you here. We have increasing rates of autism, ADHD and other diagnoses in schools. Many pupils are simply struggling to fit into the rigid education system that is not made for true inclusivity. Stretched resources and a lack of training focused on understanding the neurodivergent educational experience. With longer NHS waiting lists than ever, we also have a large number of pupils who are undiagnosed but struggling for access to support. Schools are working tirelessly to meet their needs without an official diagnosis, appropriate resources or thought out pupil plans or EHCP access. Social, emotional, mental health needs feed into the special educational needs issue, but cover a broader tranche of children and young people. These pupils may have trauma, anxiety, or low self-esteem that manifests in school avoidance. Equally, a child may be having social challenges at school such as bullying or friendship issues. In terms of family and home difficulties, pupils could be dealing with a range of major life changes such as bereavement, family illness, financial hardship, young caring responsibilities, or even neglect. In some pupil groups, frequent relocation can be a big factor in tracking school attendance and can lead to major disruption to their education. Many of the pupils in these lists eventually become labelled as suffering with emotional-based school avoidance or emotional-based school non-attendance, a term you will be familiar with. Broadly, it refers to pupils avoiding school due to emotional distress or anxiety around the school environment. But as we've discussed here already, it's rarely in isolation and usually within the context of one or more underlying issues. As we move further into 25-26 academic year and look ahead at our strategies for the next, many of you will be aware of the anticipated SEND white paper. Due initially last term, then in January, and now delayed until, well, any moment now. We can't know for sure what the paper will bring for schools, but talk within the sector leads us to expect that lead messages will include early intervention, improved training and resources for teachers and teaching assistants, greater inclusion, and strengthened accountability. Schools must prepare their teams now to bring together education, therapeutic support and welfare in order to be agile when any new requirements are announced. For schools that want to get ahead, now is the time to look at what opportunities there are for improvement, understand the attendance landscape in your school and assess the impact of any interventions already in place. Look at how you can identify needs earlier and make changes to allow action before difficulties escalate. The purpose of today's leadership briefing was to give you context for your own school attendance initiatives, and for many of those will be entirely managed by your internal school resources. However, we also know that those resources are stretched and that attendance responsibilities often take away from expensive senior leadership time or can end up in the hands of untrained support staff. At Momenta Connect, we offer a range of clinical and educational services that can support your school-wide attendance strategy or more targeted support for individual pupils. Our role is to add capacity and coordination, not to replace existing provision. Finally, thank you for joining me with this short leadership briefing on attendance in schools. I hope you found it helpful. Please do follow the link here to download the accompanying senior leadership team ready meeting papers to help you save time when reporting back to your team. The resource is free and includes a 2-page summary of this video plus a side deck and some discussion starters for you and your team. It's been a pleasure to support schools across England as part of Momenta Connect, and we hope that by being proactive and informed we can together make a difference to every pupil's experience of education. Thank you for listening.